On today's episode of the Fresh Brew Run Club, we have official photos of the Nike Vomero Plus. And did Nike copy Hoka? Let's dive in. Welcome to the Fresh Brew Run Club. My name is Aaron, and today I want to make a quick little video because we have some breaking news in the running world, and that is official images of the Nike Vomero Plus. Now, if you follow my channel, you know I have been running in the Nike Vomero 18s all spring, and I have been absolutely loving these. I posted a video reviewing them after my first run, and I'm working on my 250-mile review of these shoes. Spoiler alert, I'm a big fan of the Vomero 18, so I was really excited to see that there are official images of the Nike Vomero Plus. So let's take a step back for a second and talk a little bit about what is going on at Nike. So recently, they reorganized their daily trainer shoes into three categories. The first of which is the Pegasus, which is like the standard daily trainer. There's the original Pegasus, which they call the Icon, the Pegasus Plus, which used to be the Pegasus Turbo, and then the Pegasus Premium, which is a brand new shoe that they just released a couple months ago. I haven't run in it. Looks like it's more of a lifestyle shoe than a running shoe. They also have the Structure line, which that is Nike's stability shoes. There's the classic Structure, and then there are two additional Structures, the Plus and the Premium, that have not been released yet. And then they have the Vomeros, which you have the Vomero 18, which is your standard Vomero, the Vomero Plus, which I'm going to talk about today, and then the Vomero Premium, which I've only seen grainy, speculative photos on the internet of, so I won't get too much into that today. But the Vomero line is meant to be Nike's more cushioned daily trainer line, so you're going to see a lot of stack height. You're going to see a lot of Zoom X foam in these shoes. These are more for easy runs, for slower runs, recovery runs. You're not going to bring a Vomero onto the track, and that does look to be the case with the Vomero Plus. So the Vomero 18s are Zoom X foam on top of React X foam in the midsole. The Vomero Pluses, according to the things that I've read on the internet, are nothing but Zoom X foam. So let's talk a little bit about the history of this Zoom X only chunky easy trainer, because there is a little bit of a precedent for this shoe, and that is the Nike Invincible. So this came out a few years ago. It was Nike's entry into the max cushion chunky shoe market, which has, significantly grown. The technology in midsole foam has improved exponentially over the past 10 years, and a lot of the running shoe brands are realizing that they can add a lot of foam, a lot of cushioning, a lot of comfort in their shoes without making them overly heavy. So that's why you see these really chunky shoes from pretty much every single running brand at this point, including Hoka, which we'll get to in a second. Then they put out the Invincible 3, which was a departure from the first two versions of that shoe. It was a little firmer, it was a little less chunkier. It was a shoe that maybe you could take out on maybe a little bit of a faster workout. Nike was going to make the Invincible 4. They renamed it the Vomero Plus. They had a design for it. There's some grainy pictures on the internet of this shoe, and then they scrapped it. They for whatever reason, didn't move forward with that design, and that's where we get to the current iteration of the Vomero Plus, which is what we're seeing in these pictures today. Interestingly enough, there are some pairs of that original Invincible 4 popping up at Nike outlets. So if you see an Invincible 4 at a Nike outlet, just know that it is a very rare shoe that was actually never released. So could be a cool find at your local Nike outlet. Let's dive into the Vomero Plus. From what we can see, this is going to be an easy run shoe, an even easier run shoe than the existing Vomero. Looks like maybe about the same stack height. It's always kind of hard to tell how much the midsole goes up the sides of the shoes. So you can never really tell like how much actual stack height that your foot is sitting on in the shoe until you can put your foot in the shoe, or when we see the actual stack height numbers from Nike. But it does look to be a pretty high stack height with a lot of that Zoom X foam. So again, probably fairly similar to the Invincibles. At least that's my hope, that this is a shoe that is very similar to the original two Invincibles, because I absolutely loved those shoes. Looking at the upper, it looks nice. It looks like it kind of has a bit of a premium design to it. Again, I have no idea if that's actually going to be the case. The initial colorways that we've seen are pretty bold, I think. We'll see what is actually available at release day. Speaking of release day, we're looking at a late summer, early fall date. I've seen August tossed around, but again, this is all internet hearsay and rumors. I don't really know, but probably August or September. So we'll see when those actually come out. And then according to multiple websites that I've seen, the price is going to be 180 USD, which is $30 more than the Vomeros, which I thought that was a pretty good price. $150 for the Vomeros. Like that is a really, I don't want to say it's a great deal, but I think that's a very fair price for what that shoe is. But the Vomero Plus is going to be probably a little more premium. You're looking at that $180 price level, which, you know, that's getting up there, but, you know, we'll see how good this shoe is and we'll see how much it lasts. That's what I really am curious about with these more expensive shoes. Are they built to last, or are they built to be replaced and bought again sooner than later? So time will tell. Okay, so let's dive into the topic that has given these shoes a surprising amount of buzz. I didn't expect so many people to care about a Nike daily trainer. Typically, you don't see this kind of buzz, but something caught on. I've seen multiple media outlets refer to this shoe as a Hoka Copycat, which is interesting. Looking at the pictures, if you weren't, shall we say, neck deep in running shoe geekdom like I am, you might see this and say, yeah, that's a Hoka. That looks exactly like a Hoka. They're trying to copy Hoka. They're trying to rip Hoka off. They don't have any new ideas. I would say pump the brakes a little bit. So here's the deal. Max Cushion Shoes, which includes Hoka, and they were kind of a pioneer, an innovator in the Max Cushion shoe space. They have been a thing for 5, 6, 7 years now. I would argue anyone accusing Nike of copying Hoka would actually need to go back in time and accuse them with the Invincible. This is more of a Hoka copycat to me than the Vomero. I think the Vomero is just another shoe in the Max Cushion space. We see plenty of these shoes these days. Pretty much every brand, including New Balance. This is the More V5. They have a chunky shoe. Brooks has a chunky shoe. This is the Glycerin Max. This is a new line. Didn't love this shoe as much as I thought I would, but that's besides the point. Check out my video reviewing this shoe. But pretty much every single running shoe brand has a chunky Max Cushion shoe. That's just kind of what running shoes are at this point, especially with the foam that these brands are using. You could even say, if you squinted, that the Asics Superblast and Superblast 2 kind of look like Hoka's. That's just sort of the style. So I don't think this is a direct ripoff of Hoka. Maybe the people at Hoka disagree. I have no idea, but I just think this is how running shoes are progressing. They're adding a ton of stack height, a ton of foam to these shoes because they can, because the foam is super lightweight. So it made for a very splashy headline of like, oh, Nike's ripping off Hoka. But I don't know. I think this is just the general direction that running shoes are moving in. It kind of looks like a Hoka. To me, when I see this shoe, the upper looks kind of similar to like an Air Max, and the midsole looks somewhat like Vaporfly designs. So yeah, I don't think this is a direct ripoff. So let me know what you think. Do you think this is a Hoka copycat? Do you plan on getting this shoe? Have you run in the Vomero 18s yet? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like I said, as soon as I can get this shoe, I 100% plan on buying it and then running in it and making a bunch of videos. So subscribe so you don't miss that. But that'll be the video for today. So thank you for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you soon.